Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to House of Lathe. I'm Ladero.
And I'm Danielle.
And we're so happy you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day from whatever you're doing right now. You decided to take some time to watch this video and we hope you enjoy it.
Yes.
But before we jump into it, if you're feeling it, maybe you want to watch the video a little bit more, but we ask that you consider maybe subscribing to our channel, giving it a thumbs up after you see the content, right? You don't have to give it a thumbs up right now because you may not like it, right? We want the thumbs up to be genuine, and we want the subscribing to be genuine as well. So, babe, what are we talking about?
Yes, so today we are talking about Rambam's 13 Principles of Faith.
That's right. So these principles have been super duper foundational in our journey to Judaism.
It's honestly really helped us a lot with us transitioning from Christianity to Judaism, to be able to take these 13 principles of faith, break them down in the way that they are broken down, and get more of an understanding. Because when we were in Christianity, you know, a lot of the questions that we had, the 13 principles of faith kind of really solidifies some of those questions that we did have.
The Rambam was a Sephardic Jewish philosopher who became one of the most prolific and influential Torah scholars of the Middle Ages. He was an incredible human being. So he put these 13 principles of faith together, and it has become foundational within Judaism. And so when my wife and I started really learning Judaism, and we started learning about this Jewish life, this beautiful Jewish life, these 13 principles came in handy. So to make things easier, we're going to be reading directly from a book. So R.A. Kaplan, he has written some incredible books, but this is a 2-volume book, which has, in this volume, there's 4 books in one. Then there's a part 2 that has about 4 or 5 books in it as well. But we will be reading out of Maimonides' Principles, the Fundamentals of Jewish Faith, right? And so who is Maimonides? So the Rambam is also known as Maimonides. Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to try to wing the 13 Principles of Faith, because we're going to read it exactly and not skip over anything that's important.
That's right. Okay.
So what we're going to do, we're going to read the 13 Principles of Faith, and we're going to focus on a few that really just stood out to us when it came to our transitioning from Christianity to Judaism. That just made a lot more sense for us and solidified that we were on the right path.
Yep. So these 13 principles can be broken down into 3 different groups. So the first 5, which is what we're going to focus on, deals with the nature and belief of God. The next 4 deals with the authenticity of the Torah. And the last 4 deals with man's responsibility and ultimate reward. Before we talk about the first 5, we're just going to list out the 13 really quick.
Yeah.
Okay. So I believe with perfect faith that God is the creator and ruler of all things. He alone has made, does make, and will make all things.
Number 2, I believe with perfect faith that God is one. There is no unity that is in any way like his. He alone is our God. He was, he is, and he will be.
Number 3, I believe with perfect faith that God does not have a body. Physical concepts do not apply to him. There is nothing whatsoever that resembles him at all.
Number 4, I believe with perfect faith that God is first and last.
I believe with perfect faith that it is only proper to pray to God. One may not pray to anyone or anything else.
That was another one for us. That was major key when we read that. Number 6, I believe with perfect faith that all the words of the prophets are true.
Number 7, I believe with perfect faith that the prophecy of Moses is absolutely true. He was the chief of all prophets, both before and after him.
Number 8, I believe with perfect faith that the entire Torah that we now have is that which was given to Moses.
I believe with perfect faith, so this is number 9, I believe with perfect faith that this Torah will not be changed and that there will never be another Torah given by God.
Number 10, I believe with perfect faith that God knows all of man's deeds and thoughts.
Number 11, I believe with perfect faith that God rewards those who keep his commandments and punishes those who transgress his commandments.
Number 12, I believe with perfect faith in the coming of the Messiah. No matter how long it takes, I will await his coming every day.
And lastly, number 13, I believe with perfect faith that the dead will be brought back to life when God wills it to happen. Okay, so those were the 13 listed out. So now we're going to talk about that first group, those first 5. So number 1, I believe with perfect faith that God is the creator, ruler of all things. He alone has made, does make, and will make all things. So we're just going to read a couple key points from each one of these principles. So the first principle involves belief in the existence of God. There is a being perfect in every possible way who is the ultimate cause of all existence. All existence depends on him and is derived from him. It is inconceivable that he does not exist. If he did not exist, everything else would also cease to exist and nothing would remain. So this is just number 1, right? God exists, like he made all things. He will make all things, right? That's just principle number 1, right? It's just the existence of the creator of the universe, the existence of God.
Now, the second principle that we had talked about, it talks about, I believe with perfect faith that God is one. There is no unity that is in any way like his. He alone is our God. He was, he is, and he will be. The second principle involves the unity of God. We believe that because everything is one. If one even allows himself to think that there is another deity other than God, then he violates the commandment that Exodus 20:3 had mentioned, you shall not have any other gods before me.
He has a couple other key points in here. So God is one. He is not 2 or more than 2, but one. His unity, however, is like none other in the world. He is not one like a physical thing, which can be divided into parts and dimensions. He is one with a unity that is absolutely unique. This is really good here. If there were many deities, then they would have to have bodies and physical existence. This is because similar things can only be separated through their physical qualities. If God were physical, then he would have to be finite. This is because it is impossible for anything physical to be infinite. If his body were finite, however, then his power would also be finite. That was big, right? That was just like a big, huge mic drop right there. So, principle number 3. I believe with perfect faith that God does not have a body. Physical concepts do not apply to him. There is nothing whatsoever that resembles him at all. Listen, nobody, he has no physicality at all, right?
So just to kind of elaborate a little bit, this one right here was major for us. Principle number 3, because of the whole body and entity thing. And again, this is not to talk bad about, because we know we have viewers that are Christians that are on here. This is our way to explaining, why this mattered so much for us, and to hear that, because, everything that we were taught and what we learned in Christianity, this right here X's that out completely. So that's why a lot of stuff was making sense and a lot of more questions were coming up with things. So, going over these 13 principles of faith, this is something that we're just going to continue to keep doing. I think you should never stop going over these principles of faith and reading them consistently. It's a good reminder to always have.
Like she mentioned, Christianity teaches this idea that God is a man, and he became a man, and and it also teaches that
he was God in the flesh.
He was God in the flesh. He was a multiple entity. He was 3 in 1.
Right.
And so this understanding, these principles here, really helped us get a very, very clear understanding on how we should be thinking.
Exactly.
And so we don't believe that anymore. That no longer made any sense once we really got a good understanding here. Right? So it just gives some really, really sound principles. He said, so we believe that this unity, first of all, the third principle is that God is totally non-physical. We believe that this unity, which we call God, is not a body or a physical force. Nothing associated with the physical can apply to him in any way. If God were physical, then he would resemble other physical beings. This was big for us. We're probably going to keep saying that as we kind of go through these, right? These were big deals for us.
Yeah. Okay, and the fourth principle, it was, I believe with perfect faith that God is first and last. The fourth principle involves the absolute eternity of who we call God. Also, everything other than God himself was created by God out of absolute nothingness. in the beginning, God alone existed. There was nothing else. He then created everything that exists from absolute nothingness. It all followed his will and desire.
Boom. Beautiful. Okay, so principle number 5, the last one that we're going to talk about in this video, it says, I believe with perfect faith that it is only proper to pray to God. One may not pray to anyone or anything else. This was big for us.
This was probably our top, one right here. This is what, it did it and allowed us to go deeper and wanting to know even more.
Yeah. So obviously in Christianity, for those who are watching, again, we have Christian viewers, we have Christian friends, we have family members who are Christians. And so this isn't to bash you, and we're not trying to debate you, but this is the journey that we're on, and this is the truth that we connected with for us.
Yes.
Okay? So this was just big because Christianity teaches that no man comes to God except through this man called Jesus, right? So you have to pray to him, and you pray in his name, and so on and so forth, right? But Judaism teaches the total opposite.
Right.
And so it says one may not pray to anyone or anything else. So the 5th principle teaches us that God is the only one who we may serve and praise. We may sing only of his greatness and obey only his commandments. We may not act in this way toward anything beneath him, whether it be an angel, a star, one of the elements, or any combination of them. All these have a predetermined nature, and therefore none can have authority or free will. Only God has these attributes. It is therefore not proper to serve these things or make them intermediaries to bring us closer to God. All our thoughts should be directly only toward him. Nothing else should even be considered. So this 5th principle forbids all form of idolatry, and it constitutes a major portion of the Torah.
Right. Yep. It was big. That was huge.
This was huge,
That was the one for us.
So that one really hit us.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of our journey, that idea kind of challenged us just for a second because we were so used to
we were raised as Christians,
praying to a man.
Well, my husband was raised Christian, but like he said, we were used to praying to a man. Once I married him, that was what we became.
Yeah, that's what we did.
And so now reading something like that and learning that, it was a whole paradigm shift. And it was like, wow, okay, this is what this says, but then this is the book that we were reading, and it was telling us to do this and what we were raised on. So like we said, number 5 was just major for us.
Thank you guys so much for, again, taking the time to watch this. But we just thought it'll be a good idea to just share our thought process, especially how did we get to this place, right? We have some videos where we touch on different aspects of how we came to this, but we always just love sharing,
little steps and things that we took, because people ask us, okay, how did you get to this point? And this was one of our main key factors of really what helped us and what got us to this point to get to converting to Orthodox Judaism.
That's right. So if you guys like videos like this, please consider now subscribing. Hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up if you like it. It really helps our channel. And we have tons of videos. We have quite a few videos. We were going through the list the other day, and there's a lot of videos on our channel now, and we thank God that he has given us the opportunity to be able to have a platform, to be able to share this beautiful journey that we are now on.
Yes.
Our family is converting to Orthodox Judaism. We're still in that process. We don't have a date yet, but it's just been such a blessing to be able to share all these different things with all of you guys, to be able to build this relationship and to have you guys come along with us. It's been an absolute journey, and you've been inspiring us so much with your love, with your warmth, with your support, and we're so grateful for each and every one of you guys.
Yeah, it's something that we'll never take for granted. We don't take it lightly. We're very humbled by it, and we just appreciate, like he said, the love and support. We can't thank you enough for your comments. Continue to leave comments. We are getting back to our comments, so please be patient with us, because you guys love to comment, which we love. And again,
thank you.
We really appreciate it. And thank you for always having our backs and supporting us.
That's right. So we also have a beautiful community that we've been building for a little bit now.
Yeah.
This community is called Team Elevate. So we want to give a big shout out to Team Elevate. And so within this group, this membership club that we have, we give exclusive. We have different behind the scenes things that we talk about. Team Elevate gets first access to a lot of the videos that we post, and we have a WhatsApp group where we talk about all different kinds of really, really cool things, building community, we inspire each other. And so for those who are part of that community, we love you guys, we appreciate it so much.
Yes.
And this isn't nothing mandatory that everybody that has to be a part of or anything like that. But if you just want a little bit of extra, then consider it. And so we'll make sure that we put the link down below. Check it out. Again, it doesn't take away from anything that you currently get on our channel. We're still going to put up videos. You still have access to it.
But again, get more.
If you want a little bit more, then that's what it's for. So we're out. That's all we got. You got any more?
No, that's it. Again, just thank you guys so much. Continue to look out for more videos to come.
And we'll also put the book in the link as well, just in case you want to check it out.